careful. Feet up, Kevin, feet up.
So you want to be a whitewater kayaker? Well, sometimes, as we say on the river, school is in. And when you begin kayaking, well, you're just a beginner kayaker, a novice, a newbie, a first-timer. But the second you strap on some whitewater gear, you have a new name, and it's called a beater. And that brings me to Mike Hatcher, Sawtooth Charlie, and the Wandering Electrician. Now, there are many things I look for when analyzing a boater's skill, and one sure sign of a beater is the inability to drive his kayak through current, resulting in drifting into bad spots. Like Sawtooth Charlie here. Charlie actually did pretty well given the situation he found himself in. But I was surprised to learn that Mike decided this was a contest on who was the most beater boater. Now Mike is now pinned against this tree, and things are not preferable, but they could be a lot worse. He did the right thing by holding on and not moving, allowing me time to simply pull him free. So the first lesson of the day is you cannot just drift in a whitewater kayak. You actually have to make that thing go where you want it to go. Simply pointing the boat will not achieve a change of direction.
Good? All right, look, drive hard. You're gonna drift into stuff if you don't drive away from it. You good? All right, good luck.
So we're only 80 yards from the put-in, and Charlie almost flipped, and Mike's been pinned against a tree. But I think the guys are just not in an aggressive state of mind. We'll have to change that.
Woo! Exciting start. That's what I'm talking about. When you get down around that bridge, just watch, make sure there's no wood. I'll follow you.
Now Kevin has the wiggles as well, and no problem, it's only his second time in a whitewater boat, and the first time in that boat he's in there. So to get his confidence up a bit, I send Kevin out front, because Kevin does read the river very well, and I've paddled with him a lot. So I'll send him out front, pick the lines, and he'll start relaxing into the feel of the river and what that boat feels like. Now, it's important to note that one of the worst places you can be on a river is getting wrapped up in a bridge pylon. The only thing worse than that is a bridge pylon with logs in it.
Grab your boat!
So that was Mike drifting again, not quite used to a whitewater boat. Kind of used to a keeled boat or a boat that tracks well where you can point it in a direction, it'll go that direction. Whitewater boats do not do that, and by design. That will be your best friend later, but it's one of the tougher things to get used to. Also, a sure sign of a beater is a paddler that does not try to roll. And Mike can roll, he's done it in lakes and pools, but it did not even cross his mind to roll in the current, which is a big transition for a boater, and one of the hardest things to start getting your mind around when you flip to try to roll. And here I am attaching a tow line to his kayak. Now, very important to know that this is a rescue vest, and that D-ring is on that webbing strap there that connects to a quick disconnect toggle. So if I ever needed to disconnect from the boat I'm towing, I simply pull the toggle and that whole strap loosens and the D-ring flies off with the boat. Never tie yourself to anything, whether to your boat or to yourself, that you cannot disconnect from immediately.
How you feeling, Mike? He had a good swim.
There's Mike Hatcher, still got a little bit of the wiggles, but he's game. He's going to continue on. And he's a little bit tired. And the next thing I notice is the ferry angle is wrong here. Kevin and Charlie have the correct ferry angle pointing upstream. Mike was kind of ferrying pointing downstream, which was washing him too far downstream to make the ferry.
Now just paddle with that angle. You'll come straight across the river.
The next thing we worked on is identifying pillow rocks, which is basically a partially submerged rock with water running over it. You need to avoid them if possible.
All right, see, that's a pillow. Don't hit the pillow. So look for that flow, stay in the flow. Go left or right over it. That was the pillow. You gotta watch for the outflow. So on the back side of that rock, there was no water going downstream. That would be a pillow rock.
Didn't even see the rock.
Oh, it was there.
Huh?
You can't see the rock, but you can see what the water's doing. See, y'all were missing those last time too, where you're just not looking for it yet.
I had been noticing Mike doing a lot of fladdling, which is a sure sign of a beater. And that's somewhere across between paddling and flailing. And so he would basically go through a rapid neutral with no paddle in the water and wait till something felt wrong and then try to quickly adjust with this quickly sporadic looking paddle. The best way to do that is just to get a nice, easy paddle stroke going. You don't want to drive too fast through the rapid, but you always want to keep a paddle in the water. Sometimes the best way to do that is to just paddle gently.
Pillow!
And there you see Charlie still working on finding those pillow rocks.
Oh yeah, that looks good. This looks good. Much better on the ferry, Charlie. And Mike, look at you guys. All right, lead out, Kev. If you see anything obstructing the flow, eddy out immediately and do this. All right, now slow down, slow down. You're charging. Stay away from that log.
Another sure sign of a beater is a paddler that does not immediately recognize real danger. They may be focusing on something that looks scary, but not something necessarily that can kill them very quickly. And here is one of those situations. Mike was paddling down the right side of this channel, and there is a massive tree blocking the right 2/3, and he's not getting over to the left side early. So if something happens to Mike and he swims, he would swim directly into that tree, which would be catastrophic. And here you take a look at it. He got over, but it would be much better to get over immediately, 100 yards or more. Just as soon as you see that hazard, start going away from it to give yourself the best chance of not getting into it. And in this next clip, we have Mike kind of letting things happen to him. He's almost paddling, but not very effectively, and he simply just gets sideways and now even backwards in a simple wave train, which is really the easiest kind of rapid to run. All you have to do is point forward, and the key is to stay relaxed. And here he drifts into a pillow rock, again not driving the kayak, and then he goes too far right and lodges up on some exposed rocks there. So his confidence is not there yet, and he's not driving that kayak. Mike does improve a ton over the day, and again, all these are sure signs of a beater. But there he goes, letting go of his paddle. He's covering all the bases. Now, all these things he's doing are intuitive. So don't be too hard on Mike or anyone else, because myself and every single other paddler that ever started whitewater paddling has gone through the same challenges of getting your body to react in a way that's completely unnatural.
Yep, no wrong answer, just get through there. Nice. Nice. That's pretty work you got. Look at that, like ballet. Right on Kevin.
And in this clip, you can see Mike and Charlie, both a much better, much more relaxed and yet aggressive paddle posture. They also avoid the big pillow rock at the bottom with good boat angle and just a nice relaxed paddle. The only thing that Mike did wrong was relax right there and drift into the bank. He got kind of mixed up in the branches. But they did that one very well. So Kevin, Charlie, and Mike all have their confidence about them. They've got their wits, and they're looking good in their boat. And it couldn't come at a better time because we just exited the middle hall and are now in the lower hall, which is stepping up one class. On this day, I would suggest this would be a 2+/3 river, where the middle hall would be just a, like a 1+2 river, with rapids, that might exceed that slightly. But the difference between a river being a class 2 and a rapid being a class 2 is the continual flow of everything around you that just doesn't stop. Forces your reactions and your decision making to just be on par the whole time, or it will punish you in just a second. And we're entering some long wave trains, smaller wave trains than this. We're giving the guys fits this morning. No issues through this section. This is Ocean Boulevard. All that's about to change though, because they missed the eddy at the bottom to set up for Gabriel's Bend, and I'll just let you watch the rest.
Actually, just keep coming. Now eddy. Woo, missed it. Get right on the bank. Right on the bank. Hey, just go straight. Just go, go.
So it got a little crazy. Kevin swam in the middle of the river, but close to the right channel above Gabriel's Bend. I stuck with him and got him to the right bank. Charlie self-rescued. Mike was able to eddy out on the right bank. So all three paddlers are on the right bank. I have just found Kevin's boat downstream several hundred yards, and I can't get to it yet, so we need to form a plan. So all four of us are now on the bank together, but we only have 3 boats, and we only have 7 shoes because the initial swim pulled Kevin's booty off. So he is without a boat and without a right shoe.
But we're scouting Gabriel's Bend, and Charlie just come off a swim. Of course, Kevin had a really good swim. Mike did not swim. Pound it, brother. All right, so yeah, we're just basically, the guys are trying to see if that's something they want to tackle today. It's like 1.5 foot wave trains today, nothing crazy. I mean, that's literally what it is.
Yeah.
But the guys are they're a little psyched out. What are you thinking, Mike?
He's a carpenter. He said
1.5. Yeah,
he's a carpenter.
He measures different than me.
Yeah, I mean, just get in there, point down river, and relax. Don't get sideways, just stay pointing down river. And when you hit a hole, put a stroke in it. When you hit a hole, put a stroke in it. That's all it takes. And then when you get to the bottom, you just stay a little left of center. When you get to the bottom, just whoop, dip out right behind that little island and catch that eddy.
All you do to make an atom bomb is a little cesium, a little nitrogen, mix it up real slow or you're gonna die. No big deal, no big deal.
Oh, you're gonna love this one. Don't step on wet leaves. Little mountain climbing without a shoe.
The red circle indicates where Kevin's boat is lodged at in the middle of the river.
I just want to see the river, see if I can get the boat. I want to be able to get the boat to you right there.
Again, that's where the boat's at, there on that ledge. And I'm trying to find a way feasible to get that boat towed to Kevin here on the bank, right above Moose Jaw Falls there, and just below Gabriel's Bend. And then to keep the group together, I'd like Kevin and I to ferry across the river back to Mike and Charlie, who are waiting, and then we can take a run down the lesser side. If the guys did not want to do Gabriel's Bend, they definitely are not going to want Moose Jaw Falls.
Well, it's kind of a flip-flop. Looks a little broken up, but it's better than nothing, right? Oh, man. So close. That's Moose Jaw Falls. Boys won't be good on this one. Just wait right in here. I'm gonna try to bring it to you either there or there. Just be ready on standby. 'Cause I'll be paddling into the bank. It's gonna be on a tow string behind me. Do the best I can.
Another sign of a beater is to see 1.5 foot wave trains and think they're much bigger.
All right, you ready?
Another sure sign of a beater is not using or just really having no concept of the importance of boat angle. You'll see Charlie do a seal launch, and instead of a right stroke that would point him upstream, he just lets the river take him when he enters the seal launch.
It's all right.
And the flip side of that is sometimes a good boater looks like he's really not doing anything on the river. And a lot of that is accomplished with good boat angle and good approach. It really kind of does have to work for you.
Are we waiting on Mike?
Yeah. Gotta come up with a good name, like Last Man Mike or something.
And this is where I was really impressed with Mike and Charlie and the progress they made just today. This is a hairy ferry for a beater. Now, a hairy ferry is a ferry that you have to make or to have consequences. And this was one for them. Their boat angle was much improved. They navigated the minefield of little rocks, and they got over to the main channel of the river, which was the crux move of the situation. The next thing we need to do is find a route down through this river-wide ledge. And this is an area that most boaters really don't go that often because they don't want to miss Gabriel's Bend. So I'm trying to pick a line here for the guys where we can get straight through here without a swim, because a swim below would result in a very difficult rescue, as they would wash into the slot and the maze portions of the river. The difficulty would present itself, and I would have to go into the slot and the maze with them to effect a rescue, as they would be priority number one, and I may or may not be able to get back to Kevin's boat. At least not very easily. Here's the last bit of the ledge, and look at Mike land a brace.
Brace! Yeah! Yeah, boy! Woo! All right, get over here. Get over here. Eddie.
This morning he would have let go of his paddle.
Eddie out, come on. Come on up. Okay, I need y'all to stay. And these eddies do not flip. This one's better.
We are fortunate that Kevin's boat lodged up where it did. If it had made it through this ledge, I'm not sure we would have found it, at least not today. We may have had to put out some post on message boards and hope someone else found it and returned it to us. But as it would have it, it was broached up here between two rocks, kind of a 2-point pin upside down. I almost didn't see it from the vantage point on the second island over to the left, but I caught a little glimpse of red. So at this point, I've pulled my kayak onto this rock, and I've got Mike and Charlie in the eddy just below me waiting, and Kevin is on the river right bank. I got to unpin the boat, get it dumped out, get it emptied out, and then I got to tow that boat back across the current to Kevin, get him in there, and then come back across the current to Mike and Charlie, and then we'll head on down the river. And this brings me to another sure sign that you're dealing with a beater, is that you are pulling a boat out of a river several hundred yards downstream from where it was lost, while its owner waits on the bank with one shoe. Again, important to note that I'm towing the boat with a tether connected to a D-ring, which is held in place by a quick release toggle on my rescue vest. So again, never tie yourself to something you can't get out of immediately.
Success. Just point up river, ferry right across there.
So now it's time for Kevin's hairy ferry, and this one is substantially more difficult than Charlie and Mike's. He has much less room to work with, and the consequences are a lot higher. He will wash into Moose Jaw Falls, and if he gets a little further, then he'll start washing into the left side of Moose Jaw Falls, which had a nasty wood hazard at the top of the drop. But he performs it well, and then I tell the guys to wait in the eddy while I scout a route down through the slot.
Slow down, slow down. Paddle, 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 nice. Go right, go right. Go right hard, go right hard. Paddle hard. Paddle right through there. You got it, let's go. Go right, go right. Now straight out, straight out. Find your line. Tear it up, Mike. You got it, baby. Paddle, paddle, paddle. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Uh-oh. Swimmer. We got a swimmer. Get an eddy and hold out. Stay with Mike, catch an eddy. Catch an eddy, stay with Mike. Get on the back side of those rocks. Hold your boat. Hold your boat. Can you stop? Can you stand up? Stand up right there. I want you to loop this around the grab handle. Flip that around one of those grab handles. There's a rock right there, be careful. Yep. Hold on, you got it. Nice. That was perfect. You're getting your money's worth today, ain't you? Or if you wanted to go freak man, you can put it on that rock right there. Slide off and just go. You got that. your line. I'll be right behind you.
Kayaking, in all its various forms, is simply an amazing sport. Whitewater kayaking is the top of the food chain. It can be equal parts beautiful and terrifying, and is to be respected. For the few people that try it, very few things in this world will deliver the same sort of experiences and emotions and visuals you'll get. It's no wonder so many people are attracted to it. The key is to do it safely and know your limits. There's no shame in starting off on small rivers and acquiring the skills necessary to go big. And depending on your schedule and the boater, this may take some time, but don't give up. It will be worth the ride. Today's run was a Class 2/3, which means basically a Class 2 river with 1 or 2 Class 3 rapids in it. All 3 of the guys are basically Class 2 paddlers. None of them have a role. Kevin has a lot of river running experience, and Mike and Charlie are just starting out. They'll progress quickly because they got heart, drive, and they're not afraid to get in there and mix it up. When you're assessing yourself, be realistic, go with people who can help you, and be safe. If you're not ready for the level of water you're in, getting on it anyway will not make you a boater. It will make you an epic beater. With some good stories, and maybe missing a shoe.
Man, this guy's looking right. Kevin, how's Whitewater treating you today?
Well, it was costly today. I mean,
Sure is a fancy shoe. You should have bought 2.
well, I couldn't afford the other one.
Sawtooth Charlie, it's a pleasure, man. All right, now we got last man Mike here. Good run, brother.
You too, bro.
Fear of death is no longer in your eyes. You're smiling again.
Oh,
Always a good time when you're with the Virginia boys. Well, tell me about the run. Give me your honest, how was the run? How did it treat you today?
it got better as I got the feel for the boat.
He swam
Yeah,
early,
I think
kind of
it's-
freaked him out. He got his wits about him. Looked good there at the end.
I think it's kind of right at the top end of my skill level right now. So.
He
Yeah.
talked a lot about rolling. Didn't happen today. We
Yeah.
got to get his first combat roll. Hopefully I can catch that on film because that's I did get his first brace.
Yeah,
How did that feel?
that was
I was like, I'm about to go down. Not today. He had his little Sparta moment there on that rock. We were all yelling. What do you think, Charlie?
I appreciate the blessing.
But it got a little bit sporty in there, didn't it? Good times, guys. Well, I'm gonna jet back.
Appreciate it.
Let's do it again.
Yeah, we good. We good.
Time for Kevin to
It's officially
make it
River,
official.
so-
I was surprised to see that.
And as you progress from beater to boater, just remember, no matter how good you get at kayaking, even if you think you're king of the river, you might just show up for a run one day and forget your spray skirt. Then one of your friends are going to have to drive you all the way home so y'all can all go kayaking. You know what they're going to call you? A beater.